To start off, I'm Kerry Cochran. I'm with the Feather River Rail Society, and hopefully this presentation will give you an opportunity to see what we've done with our Historical Archives Department at our museum in Portola. We've done a lot of work in the last few years, and we've got a lot of reference material now that's available online that you can go and view. So hopefully this will give you an idea of what we're doing. So we also have all of our reference material has been focused on a lot of things recently. Not only our publications, which we've increased some publications that we found in our archives. Our museum store that is here has probably 4 or 5 of our reproduced WP drawings that are available for sale. We've also got our member newsletter, the train sheet, which is now being published quarterly on a regular basis, and our regular magazine, the WP Headlight, which is back on a schedule. We're producing 2 of those every year now, and we've been doing that for the last couple of years. We've made that commitment to our members. So all of our stuff that I'm going to try and describe to you here is from all of our publications, our archives, our history, and from our homepage. You can reach a lot of this stuff. One thing that is not on our website is the WP Headlight magazine. We've made a conscious decision that is a publication. If you want it, you're either going to join and become a member, or you're going to purchase one of our back issues, which are available. And some of those back issues that are not available, we have them all in PDF form, and we can reproduce the ones that we don't have the actual magazine for. So there's a lot of material that has become available in the last few years. The web pages or the archives can be reached at our homepage at wplives.org, and then you can just go to the pull down menus, and there's a pull down menu right there that shows where we're at. This is on a desktop. We have a mobile version too. Sometimes it's a little more difficult to navigate on a phone. So if you really want to get into detail and stuff, it would be advisable to probably use a desktop for this. Here's how you'd find the homepage on a mobile device. There's different ways you can get into it. This is probably the most simplest one. And here's where we go into. Once you get to the archive page, we have another section called collections. This started last year. No, actually in 2021 it started. We just populated a lot more stuff last year and earlier this year. So you can see here, hopefully there's ways to assist you in finding things that you might be looking for. We have search bars. Google has helped us tremendously in being able to search the website for certain things. As we go on here, we'll talk maybe a little bit more about this stuff here, about if you're looking for a specific, let's say, locomotive, a GP7, a GP9, maybe WP 2001. We do have a way to do that. One of our larger collections is the Kenneth Meeker collection. Both the corporate archives and some of his own personal photos and documents are available. So this is what we have in the collection as of the beginning of this year. This might be a little bit busy here on the screen, but you can see that we have several different collections that have been donated to us. And unfortunately, some of these people are no longer with us. A few are. One thing that we've come to find recently is we have a number of Virgil staff stuff. Virgil actually split his collections between CSRM, the Western Railroad Museum, and the Feather River Rail Society. So if you're really looking for something in Virgil's collection, sometimes we may not have it, but CSRM may, or even Western Railroad Museum. We've been cooperating with both organizations and trying to get some inter-museum sharing going, if you want to call it that. No, I don't think we have that specifically spelled out at this time. Usually, if someone has a specific question, on our web pages, there's places that you can send a message directly to the archive department, and there is 3 of us on the archive staff that will get that message, and we can answer the question. Here's some examples of our collection, one of our collection pages. There's a tremendous amount of thumbnail photos that we have. We are scanning these as fast as we can. Most all of these on the website are in low resolution, and you can usually click on the thumbnail and it will display a better image. And then for whatever reason, if you want to get a copy of that photo, or you want to do more research, the little box underneath gives you some text and stuff. We've got a number assigned to that, and we'd be able to go back and pull out that specific photograph or document or whatever that you may be looking for. And this was a little bit what I was talking about before is, you know, they're grouped by some of the subjects. And so if you were looking for this WP 705, we do have them listed all in one place. You can go there, or you can just do a search and put in WP 705, and it'll give you a list of what's available. These contact sheets is something we've just started doing here about a year and a half ago. And it's just like the old days. If you were a photographer and you took a bunch of your slides or your negatives and you made a contact sheet and put them in a binder and you numbered them, you knew what you had, you could find it and go to it. We're trying to do something very, very similar. Here is an example of that. We've got we've got where you can scroll down through the collections. You can pick one of these, and then it'll pop up this collections and show you what you just searched for. Something that's been working out fairly well. We've gotten some pretty good responses from folks that are looking for things. This is one of the examples of it. And as it indicates here, if you hover over this little photo on the contact sheet, it'll pop up that number. That's the number of the photo. That's the ID number, how we find it in the collection now. One thing that goes a little bit beyond this right now that nobody sees other than the archive staff is that number now is linked to a location in our storage system where we know exactly where that's at. Recently, we had a gentleman that donated a real nice photo of a WP steam locomotive. His father took the picture. Unfortunately, their house burned in one of the fires. They lost the other photos. They got a hold of us, said, hey, we gave you this photo. He gave me the date. I went and searched it, found it. We sent the photo back to him so he could make another copy. And then he returned the photo back to us. So we have a way now of being able to find some of this stuff and make research easier for folks looking for it. I'll tell you, we don't have everything inventoried yet. That's a huge project that we're working on. So we have some other things in there too. We do have past convention materials that we've been able to collect over the years and show the history of some of the conventions we've had. That by no means is all inclusive. We are missing a tremendous amount of that data. There's some things that no longer even exist. First Sub Club, that used to be down in the Bay Area. It was a small group of members that did a separate little meeting as they deemed necessary. Another thing is this WPTRS Trail Light. Tail Light was a little magazine or a little newsletter sheet that one of our previous managers had put out for the members. Our publications. So we have several indexes that list all of the articles of the headlight. So from issue number 1 all the way up to current issue 55, we have an index of everything that's in each of those magazines. That's in the master. We have articles that we can reprint out of that. Our train sheet archives. All of our train sheets, which is a member newsletter, they're all online, except for they stop. So if today you wanted to see last month's train sheet magazine, you wouldn't be able to see it because we hold that for 1 year and then we post it. And then we have a master index of all the articles that are in the train sheet. So if you're interested in a particular thing that, you know, gee, I'm a member and I remember, gee, this happened on, you know, 1996 and it was around June. Well, you can go back into this master index. You can look at June 96 and you can see all of the main articles and everything that are there. This is part of the headlight, and we have some specific reprints and out-of-date stuff that we've actually pulled out, and you can go and view some of the material. It's not the entire magazine, but it's a specific what we would call an extra, or currently now what we're doing when we're producing the headlight is in the magazine itself, there's a link. And if you go to that link, there's even more information that we have posted on the website associated with that article. One article that was written here recently with Kathleen Arnoldson. She was a WP dispatcher. Unfortunately, she passed away right after that, right at the time that article was being produced, but we have some subsequent material behind that we're going to be posting as soon as we get it scanned. So other articles are like that too and available. Of course, we have historical stuff there. We have the history. We've got a brief history. We've got 2 of the first 50 years and the first 80 years of the WP. We've got something that everyone has seen maybe 2 or 3 times is Oroville Dam project. I know several of our members have done presentations at our conventions on the Oroville Dam construction. I've done one. Those are available. We got a lot of marketing and advertising materials now there. Something that we found was this here by Virgil's staff. He wrote a very extensive history of the WP from 1910 to 1930. It's on the website. You can go and look at it. You can read it. So there's a lot of materials there. This may be of more interest to a lot of folks here and the PCR members is we've been trying to get more and more modeling references about WP up on the website. Currently, HO scale is the most prolific on here because we haven't had anybody else in O scale, S scale, N scale, Z scale give us more modeling information in those scales. So we have photos. One thing that we're working on is, a lot of people knew Steve Kavanaugh. Steve was a very, very well-known, great modeler. He had a wonderful layout at his home. Unfortunately, Steve passed away in 2018, and the family sold the home and they tore out the layout. We're very fortunate we have a section of his layout at the museum that we're going to try and restore. It's like Jim has the Kitty Y. It's that section from his layout. So, and we have some modeling photo galleries there. We have almost all the conventions for the last, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. There's a tremendous amount of photographs that I've taken from the conventions and put over there that you can look at. Reference materials. One of the gentlemen here, I don't see him here, but they were asking about industries on the WP. Well, there's actually a listing of all the industries known to us on the WP in California, Nevada, and Utah. Hopefully it's a very, comprehensive list that, for a model, if you're modeling a particular area, you can go and look and see what the industries were in that area. We're finding more and more of the WP common standards. We have tons and tons of WP forms. I mean, they're just, I'm sure people have seen those all over the place. One of the other things that we were able to finish up about roughly a year ago is the original WP headlights. We have issue 1 all the way through the end. They're all scanned, they're all on the website. More reference materials. I can just let you look at that for a minute. There's just more and more stuff that we're trying to make available, reference material and stuff for the WP. We have some other things that have come from other past members, this all-time car roster. That's from Garth Gross collection. Garth was very generous and donating a ton of information that he had created. The SN pages that we have that are on the website, Garth's old SN website many years ago. He donated that to us. And we have all of Garth's slides, all of his WP, SN. I think there's a few other things that we have that are scanned and on the website. We found this Jordan spreader. We actually have the actual original operating instruction parts and diagrams from one of the Jordan spreaders. That's available. And this is what the team looks like right now. These are the folks that actually make up the archive department, do all the work, do all the posting. I have to say that, Paul and Kenneth Finnegan have been a tremendous help. Paul is our webmaster. And in conjunction with him working in the archive department and being the webmaster, this is how we've populated all of this stuff on the website. Of course, Dale Sanders. Dale Sanders has been a longtime friend of the museum. He's done a tremendous amount of scanning of all of our photos and stuff. He was the one that did a lot of the Meeker collection. A recent addition, some of you may know Jim Adkins. Jim Adkins used to work for the WP. He's sitting back there with Dave. So these folks have all started to come over to us, give us a hand. We recently did a, I don't know if I want to call it a meet and greet, but we went up to the Sacramento Railroad Museum and sat down and chatted with their archivist and went to their storage facility to see all the materials that they have on WP. So we're trying to get this cooperation between the two organizations. So there's something we don't have, we know where we can send folks to. You know, like Jeff had asked that question about, is it marked anywhere on the website that, hey, if we don't have it, go here, go there. Usually I indicate that when somebody writes us and says, hey, I'm looking for this. I'll go look in the materials that we have, and I can write back to them and tell them, well, you know, I don't know if we have this or not because it's not inventoried yet, but you can check with CSRM, you can go to the Western Railroad Museum, or if they're looking for something specific, there's several of you that I know, and I can point them in your direction if you feel like answering a question for them. And I think that's about, you can send us comments, questions, or whatever too. There's an address here. I would encourage you to please do that. We would like to hear from you. I take those suggestions and comments and try and implement them and make this better for all, not only all of our members, but like the joint group here, modelers have asked us for a lot of things, and we've been able to, you know, supply drawings or answer questions, or even if they want photographs, we've been able to do that now. So yeah, and then we encourage you, if you have something in your collection that you don't think you're going to use any longer, or that maybe you want to donate it because you don't want it to go by the wayside if something happens to you. I know personally, my entire WP collection will be going to the Railroad Museum when I eventually am 6 feet under. So think about that also. This is just the revision history of the slides and stuff, and I'll take any questions that anybody has. Kind of short, quick, easy, nothing long here.
I'm curious if okay, let me get my brain and my mouth working together. If I go to your system and I look for something, let's say I want to find out if there are any records or anything pertaining to China and when it was purchased or purchase orders or things like that, and I can't find it, can I at least approach you and ask if there might be something in archives and have somebody look for it? Would that be possible? I mean, that's time consuming. I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. The caveat I put behind that is typically the museums only open during good weather, during the operating season there. I only spend about 6 months at the museum, and I usually spend 2 weeks during the summer there continuously. So all of our stuff is not inventoried yet. We have so much that needs to be inventoried. It'd probably take a couple of archivists a couple of years to really get that. But yes, you can definitely, through this here little email, or you can go on the site. There's 2 or 3 different. There's info@wplives.com. You can send a message there, and usually when it's archive or historical related, I get the message. I will respond, and our policy is I'll spend a half an hour for free looking for things for people. If we have it, wonderful. I'll tell you what you need to do to get it. If not, I'll tell you that I've seen it, I haven't seen it, or we don't have it inventoried yet. Or if there's something specific, like Lauren, I know you like China and stuff. If I've seen something that somebody else has referred to, I can give that information. So yeah. Anybody else?
I have an interest in WP construction, and do you have much on that area, and where should I start looking for it?
WP construction. Yes, we do. But again, it's not inventoried yet, and I don't know how much of it we actually have. To give you an idea of the magnitude of maybe what we have in our collections. We have 5 boxcars full of archival material. We have an 85-foot completely restored archive car that's HVAC, temperature, humidity controlled with a fire system and everything. All of our, let's call priceless collections are in that car. That car is what we are concentrating our inventories on. That's where the Meeker collection, the staff collection, a few other of our slide collections are stored at. The other material that's in our other box cars, there's a cotton belt car that we have rows and rows and rows of file cabinets. I know in certain file cabinets, we have AFEs for a lot of stuff, but we don't know what the AFEs cover yet, because that file cabinet has not been inventoried. But again, you're welcome to send a message to us. We'll try and look and see what we have and give you an answer, or tell you, I don't know. I actually have an outstanding request by a couple of brothers. Their father worked for the WP, looking for some very specific information. Unfortunately, that request has been sitting for 5 years because we have not run across that information yet. But I have a mechanism that I know that request is still there and pending, so that should we come across that, we can answer the question.
I have a question back here. If somebody's interested in volunteering to help with the archiving of this material, how can they do that?
They can do that by contacting me. One of the things is we put some pretty stringent requirements into our archive department now. We have policies that we need to follow. You need to be a member. You need to be a member for so long. You need to get an interview, background check, and then we start you into the process of becoming, let's say, a helper or a researcher or helping us with inventory. One example is I pointed to Jim's sitting over here, Jim Atkins. He started last year with us. He's been a member for a number of years. He went through his background check and stuff. One thing that's in his benefit is he's been working at CSRM with their archives. And so it's a little easier for him to step right in. A newer person, we're going to have to hopefully get in, give some training to them, get an idea of what they know in the archive business. I'm not an archivist. I've learned everything by the School of Hard Knocks. So
another audience test.
I'm not sure what you're looking for in construction, but if you're looking for photographs, one of the places that you can go there is past conventions. There was a gentleman that gave a really good construction photograph up at Bend, Oregon. His name is escaping me right now, but he gave a presentation at Bend, Oregon. So you might want to look for that one. And I gave a presentation on postcards that were photographed at the time of the construction, and that was the Stockton Convention. So you might want to look at, start looking there to see if that answers some of the questions.
yeah, one of the things along that line is all of the conventions that we've held over the last 4 years. I've been trying to obtain all of the presentations from the WP conventions, and if they will allow or give us permission, give us a copy of that presentation, and we're putting it into the folder in the directory for that year of the convention. I know almost all of my presentations that I give are there. We're trying to get several of our other members to allow us to copy and put their presentations there. So when a question like that comes up and you're researching something, you can go there, oh, I found it, and you click on it. Well, there's no information there. Well, again, if there's no information there, please, by all means, feel free to send us a message. Let me do a little research, see if we have anything, and I can get back to you. Anybody else?
No other questions?
Well, I appreciate you all being here, taking the time to hear me squawk about our archives and stuff. And hopefully you've learned a little bit more about it. And if anybody wants to talk to me, just find me. And you got one more back here.
Going to say excellent presentation.
Hello, I came in a little bit late, so maybe it's already been answered, but you mentioned Jim Kavanaugh's Kerry Y model.
Yes.
Is there anything being done right now as far as that goes, or do you have volunteers for that? Or who would I see if I wanted to get involved in that?
Okay, it would be me. And no, actually, when COVID hit, we kind of just, everything came to a halt at the museum. We're slowly getting back into that realm of pulling all of these projects out that got put on the sideline. We have a space that's designated for it where we didn't have that earlier. So now we're going to pull that out of storage. We've had it stored, covered, protected. And my goal is there's another member at the museum that wants to work with me in restoring that. So if you're interested in that, come and talk to me about it and we can see what we can get arranged. But yeah, we do have, the plan is to bring the module pieces that we saved out and restore them. In fact, the president had told me an individual had some material that they had taken off of it and they were going to give it back to us to help us restore that Kitty Y. So yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.